Mientras uno está vivo, uno debe amar lo más que pueda.
Hello, mi café comadre, compadres, and everyone in between. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Kiara. My parents call me Kikis, my friends call me Nasari, and my people in Guatemala call me Negrita. And that's all you need to know about me. Welcome to another episode of Café Conversaciones con Kiara. Today I am so excited to sit down with you guys because we are going to talk about everyone's favorite and most anticipated event of the year, the Benito Bowl that just happened on Sunday. And as a fan of symbolism and metaphors and all that good stuff, I have so much to say about his Super Bowl performance and all the small little details that you may have missed that I noticed for you, comadre. So let's get into it, you know what I'm saying? But I do want to preface this with some of my own thoughts, and I hope you don't mind, but throughout the performance, I did take notes. First and foremost, I want to say that for me, this wasn't something that I felt really big emotions towards at first. I know a lot of people who identify as Latino were really excited for this moment, were really proud to have a Latino figure so politically inclined and so powerful and outspoken as Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl. But I just couldn't come to terms with the underrepresentation that I felt. I didn't feel like this was a moment really for me or for my kind of Latinidad. Um, and I'll get to it in a second. But to preface, I am Guatemalan, like 100% Guatemalan. I know I may look a different way, but that is who I am, and I will always be super proud and honored to be Guatemalan, and most importantly, Latina. Like, I hope in every lifetime I am a Latina because it's really cool here. And I just think that Guatemala is not exactly a popular culture or a popular ethnicity that is widely recognized very much. Like, it's not something that you would think of first when assuming someone else's ethnicity. And as a result, I feel underrepresented at times because in Chicago, in the United States, there aren't a lot of Guatemalans. And as a result, there's not a lot of Guatemalan culture that can be spoken about or shared amongst each other. So, with that being said, Bad Bunny performing at the Super Bowl as someone who's Puerto Rican for me was a little underwhelming. I just honestly didn't really get the hype at first. And I saw a lot of people on TikTok and on social media talking about how, I am this ethnicity, but tonight I'm Puerto Rican. Like they would say, I know I saw one TikTok where it was like the caption said like P fucking R, and then in parentheses it was like, but I'm really another ethnicity. And I kind of felt like, sure, that could be me, but it just didn't feel right to me. However, this all changed when I saw all the cultural similarities throughout the show. After that, things changed. After that, I did cry. I cried really hard, especially at the end when he started mentioning all the countries. I think that was my tipping point. When he started mentioning all the countries and he said Guatemala, he didn't leave out my country, my homeland. That was impactful to me, and it was enough to produce quality tears, let's say. Speaking towards all the cultural similarities, I just want to say one thing. Who hasn't, out of all the Latinos, all the Latin American cultures, who hasn't seen a kid asleep on 3 chairs in the back of a party of the family function before? I feel like that's something everyone has. Who hasn't danced baladas románticas with their abuelo? Who hasn't danced with another cousin of similar age and you guys are like 5 years old? More importantly, who hasn't been to your self-taught prima's house to get your nails done? And you guys spread a little nice cheesement in between. Who hasn't gotten a granizada or a raspado? That was also culturally significant. Who hasn't gotten food from a street vendor? It's all relevant. It's all cross-cultural. It's all of these small habitual moments in all our cultures that really unite us. And this message was abundantly clear. Also, apart from Lady Gaga's appearance, the halftime show was essentially entirely in Spanish. This was impactful in itself because an all American pastime such as football typically is correlated with an all American halftime show, but this is also like deteriorated or like withered down in times. It's been more lenient in recent times. Now it's just as long as the person up there sings in English. But this time, not only was in Spanish, but it was being sung by an all Spanish Album of the Year Grammy Award winner. There's just also another turning point in history. Also, at a time when it is literally so dangerous to do or to be anything other than what is considered to be all American, of course, it's a big deal that this halftime show was in Spanish, the whole thing. Not only was it in Spanish, but Benito has always been really good in his music at using anecdotes of Spanglish. Spanglish is more commonly used by first generation immigrants and their children. So this was super significant as well, not just in speaking to older generations, but also speaking towards the younger generations who will do like a play on many of the words and turn it into their own dialect. So Bad Bunny has always been very good at making sure that people of all ages can enjoy his music. And this was super emphatic in his recent album, as we all know. All the old sounds combined with the new sounds, it was something that everyone can truly enjoy. Speaking of cross generational messages, Bad Bunny was also super emphatic on unity and self esteem throughout his whole halftime show performance. He even took a moment to let the people watching his show on TV at home that he got there because he always believed in himself. And you can get places too because you can also believe in yourself and you always should. Why? Because you are worth more than you think. And this is a translation, of course, from how he said it in Spanish, which I'll put the clip in. But he brings up a good point. How can we believe in the unity of all of us together if we can't even believe in ourselves? O sea, ¿cómo un edificio se puede mantener parado si la base está débil? ¿Cómo se puede construir una base fuerte cuando un pilar está débil? You know what I'm saying? I'm cooking in Spanish here. This was also abundantly clear, at least in my opinion, when he hands the Grammy to a little kid who is depicted watching his Grammy Award speech with his family. I also think that that spoke to how not only was this Grammy won by Benito, but this was a big win for all Latinos in general. This was something that we had never seen before on stage. This was a space that was taken up that we were told that we couldn't take it up before. And it was super impactful for a multitude of ways. On the topic of building blocks, there is a moment that I felt like went over a lot of people's heads. And maybe I'm reaching too much for this point, but I think that it's super valid. There was throughout the performance, I noticed that Bad Bunny made slight hints at how Latinos not only built this country but make up this country. And there's a like small scene in the beginning of the halftime show where he passes a group of women who are standing next to a bunch of cement blocks, and it looks like they're building something. Cement blocks have always been representative of Latinos for the common stereotype that Latinos work in construction and Latinos are good at construction, and so they always build. But I think that this stereotype not only can be partially true in the context of Bad Bunny's halftime show, but it also is true in the fact that we are the cement blocks of America. We are the ones that literally help build the country from the ground up. How does the saying go? Immigrants, we get the job done. And they are also a symbol of resilience and hard work. And I think that that was so minimalistically but beautifully showcased by Bad Bunny. Something that you might also not know is that the bushes that surrounded all of his stage or scenery were real people. And I have been thinking about why Bad Bunny would make people the grass. I mean, there was no real flow throughout the performance of the grass. Like, the grass never moved, the grass never danced. There was nothing really like super special about what the grass did. So then, why would he use people? I personally think that this is his way of showing how the people make up the land. quite literally in this scenario, because these people are literally the grass that makes up the scenery, the grass that makes up the land. But I think that that was a small but effective point in in emphasizing his concept and theme of, Latin Americans building up this country. Again, we are America. But I don't want to brush away a lot of politically inclined things that Bad Bunny did, because they are also super significant in the way that he showed and not told. For example, there is a moment where the camera cuts to like these people on electric poles, and they seem to be falling and also trying to fix the electricity. This, as soon as I saw it, I was like, I know what he's talking about. This speaks to the recent power outages that were happening in Puerto Rico as a result of corrupt government. It's something that not a lot of people spoke about, because not a lot of people had access to the internet to speak about it. But this right here was a huge moment being broadcast on national television, dare I say international television, and everyone could clearly see what the problem was. This is another way that Bad Bunny continuously shows up for politics without actually talking about them. But it is important. In these times, it's not enough to just say things, but also to show them. And I think that's something he's just really good at doing. Another moment that really touched my heart that I want to talk about is when, right before Ricky Martin sings, there is a man, and he is playing the national Puerto Rican instrument called the cuatro. I grew up playing the cuatro, and to see this instrument being showcased live and being played beautiful, oh, it brought tears, because I had never thought that this was something that people would recognize as like traditional music. And it really felt like I was there playing. Like I was like, oh, I know how to play that instrument. Yeah, I could do that. That's all me. But I wanted to highlight that because it was a really heartwarming moment for me. He also uses his nationality to showcase a lot of the common themes that I already spoke upon, such as unity, resilience, strength. But one of the smaller symbols that he used was the national flower of Puerto Rico, which is the flor de maga. It is a flower that Lady Gaga has pinned to her dress, and it is really beautiful. After some research, I found out that the flower itself does indeed represent harmony, peace, and resilience, because it is a flower that grows in really tough climates. And hey, what more do I have to say to that other than well done? You know what I'm saying? But overall, I think that the halftime show was beautifully done in its minimalistic points of symbolism. Especially liked the fact that all of these people, it was a huge amount of dancers, a huge amount of people, but they were all different types of Latinos. They all came from different Latin American countries. And something significant that he also said was that there's a lot of us, and no matter what, together we can be a powerful force. And that is completely true. It made me think a lot about the mythical creature, I believe it's called a hydra, where if you cut two heads off, if you cut one head off, two heads take its place. And I feel like Latinos are low-key like that, where if you take one of us away, two will show up in its place. So I think that it was beautiful. I think more obvious points that have been talked about, of course, is his message of together we are America. And in doing so, he, like I said, announced all the Latin American countries, announced USA, Mexico, and Canada, to represent how all of this makes up America, and it is not just the US of A that represents America. He also had a poster in the back that said, the only thing more powerful than hate is love. And that is a common theme throughout his whole album. One of the most notable quotes in his album is, Mientras uno esté vivo, tiene que amar lo más que pueda. And I've said that in previous episodes, because I think and I believe that that holds so much truth in itself, that in order to be able to see progress, see change, we must first learn to love. And doesn't just mean us as Latinos love each other, because I think we already do a really good job of loving each other and expressing our love in the most beautiful ways that the language can provide. But I also think that this was like, get the hint for the other people to love us as well, because it is powerful. And um, as recent events have shown, the love that the people that some white people have for us shows up in protests, in the way that they represent us in spaces that we cannot be in, whether it's in like, and I say cannot be in as in like we are not there physically, not saying that we can't take up those positions, but representing us using their privilege. And I think that it's something that is like kind of like a stepping stool for us. And it's a reason why I network a lot, because I never know when I might need the help of one of these white people. But yeah, I think it was super significant. So significant that I guess I forgot to like drink my whole coffee while I'm having this conversation with you guys. Anyways, I did want to keep this a little bit brief and a little bit light because, like I said, there was just so much to unpack in the Super Bowl. And the halftime show, whether you liked it or not, you cannot deny that the message was not clear and that the message was not loud enough for everyone to hear. And if I wasn't a Bad Bunny enthusiast before, you can count me as one now. Because if you know, I'm not like the biggest Bad Bunny fan. But now, my utmost respect to Benito. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you think about anything I said, or if there's anything that you noticed that I didn't mention, because I'd love to talk to you about it. But other than that, I think I will take this to go, and I will see you guys next time for another tasty coffee recipe and delicious conversation. Que se cuiden. Bye.